Alright, so in today's video, I'd like to speak to you about a very common misconception that a lot of people have when it comes to meditation. And that is of the idea of emotional perfection, right? A lot of people who get into meditation, they tend to expect emotional perfection to flow into their experience when they go and meditate. Right? So they go into meditation with the assumption that just by sitting down and doing some meditation technique, they are going to feel blissful and utterly at peace instantaneously. Or else they're doing something wrong. And this couldn't be farther from the truth. Okay? The truth is that meditation is not about emotional perfection. It's not about just feeling like these super altered states all the time. It's not about just a peace of mind 24/7. The actual purpose of meditation is to embrace your emotions, embrace every sensation that arises in your experience, and becoming unbiased towards these sensations. So you no longer care, you no longer hold one sensation above the other, where you actually notice that all sensation ultimately are made up of the same thing, and therefore there's no reason to desire one type of sensation over the other. And that's really the insight that meditation is trying to get at. That's why you practice. If you ever thought why you practice meditation, essentially it is to get it to the point where you can see the fundamental impermanence of all sensations that arise, and the fact that you're actually not there's no specific self there to experience these sensations, and that if you cling on to sensations, then that is what causes suffering. This is really essentially what meditation is getting at. So keep that in mind the next time you practice. Don't go in assuming that just because you're feeling some anger, or you're feeling frustrated, or you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling overly excited, or whatever the emotion is you're feeling, that you can't meditate because of them. Don't assume that. Because really, it doesn't matter what you're experiencing, what emotion, what thought, what feeling state. It doesn't matter what, really, ultimately doesn't even matter what external circumstances you're in. You can meditate on them, and you can be just as effective at meditating on them as if you were in the perfect circumstances. Right? Because meditation isn't about the states, right? States come and go all the time. So if you feel, let's say, irritated, right? You're talking to someone, or someone pisses you off, you're feeling irritated, that's a perfect time to meditate. Don't think that just because you're feeling irritated, you're not in that peaceful, monk state that you kind of vision monks live in 24/7. That you can't meditate and make progress, right? You can do it, and in fact, it's a really good time to meditate when you're feeling irritated, or you're feeling some other useless or seemingly useless emotion, because that's when you can actually have insight into the very nature of that emotion. For example, its impermanent nature. You can actually grasp that particular emotion you're experiencing is fundamentally impermanent. And that actually is something that will free you from that emotion. Because when you understand that it's impermanent, that it's a fleeting experience, you don't attach yourself to it, you don't identify to it, then, man, you're going to have no problem dealing with it. You're not going to fear it anymore. You're not going to resist it. You're not going to suffer from it. Okay? So it's a very useful technique. very useful thing to be able to work with those emotions. And that's why I actually highly suggest you do that. Cut away that whole assumption or that idea of having emotional perfection during your meditations. Okay? Because meditation ultimately isn't about that. Right? Even post enlightenment or whatever awakening you can imagine yourself to get to through your meditation practice or whatever spiritual practice you're doing, even post awakening, you're still going to deal with the very same emotions you're dealing with now. Certainly to a lesser extent, if you've done the process correctly, a lot of that kind of neuroses will have dropped from your psyche. It would just unravel. But there's certainly going to be things like irritation, frustration, or impatience, boredom. Those emotions you may still experience them. I don't know. Maybe you won't. But despite that, I can already kind of see from the research I've done and from talking to spiritual teachers, very highly attained spiritual teachers, those emotions, they still exist even after enlightenment. And what changes from enlightenment, and here's the counterintuitive thing, is not that those emotions somehow disappear. It's actually your relationship to those emotions becomes transformed, right? It undergoes this kind of metamorphosis as you progress on the spiritual path. All right, but hey, that's the video for today. I'm gonna get out of here now. I hope you got some valuable insights out of this video and you can put them into practice. All right, so next time you feel an emotion, maybe an emotion that is seemingly useless, it's something that you feel like, you shouldn't be feeling, or you wouldn't want to be feeling right now, or you really wish it wasn't there. Don't suppress it. Don't assume that now you can't be at peace because this emotion is present. Instead, look into that emotion, not into the content, right? Because emotion usually comes with thoughts, and those thoughts have all this story to them, this storyline you start to get sucked into, and then you get into this loop where you're just thinking, and you're in a negative thought loop, right? Not this. I don't mean this. But actually, when you feel that negative emotion, feel the raw sensations that accompany that. Like, how are you experiencing that emotion in the first place? Feel it. Feel it where it's located in the body, whether it's the chest or the forehead or the stomach, the abdomen area. Where are you feeling that emotion? What thoughts, what images, what sensations are accompanied by this emotion? And really strive to be as clear as you can about the real, raw, objective experience of that emotion without getting caught up in that story that it's trying to present or symbolize, right? When you do this, you are practicing meditation. The longer you're able to do this, the more adept you become at handling emotions of any kind. And this doesn't mean you're now going to become some kind of human that's devoid of emotions. No, this is nonsense. You actually become you become more able to experience emotions fully, right? And this is a very beautiful thing, and you will find that the more you do this, the more you embrace every emotion that arises in your body and really seek to feel and experience it as entirely as possible, like the experience of that emotion, the the more joy, the more peace, the more satisfaction you will have for life. Right? Because you're living in the present moment. This is what all the spiritual teachers talk about, living in the present moment. Right? And there's a reason why they keep saying that. Alright? Okay. That's the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.